The cosmos trembled in silence. In the dark stretches of interstellar space, a faint shimmer of light betrayed the presence of a figure cloaked in the void, moving with the precision of a predator and the serenity of a guardian. Space Ghost, eternal sentinel of the galaxies, floated above a distant asteroid belt, his emerald eyes scanning the surrounding sectors for disturbances in the cosmic equilibrium. Though his demeanor was calm, a sense of unease gnawed at the edge of his consciousness. Something enormous was coming, a force the universe itself seemed to recognize with fear. Meanwhile, on a backwater planet at the fringes of the Milky Way, a force of destruction was awakening. Cain Marko, the unstoppable Juggernaut, had been lured by whispers of an artifact capable of amplifying his already immeasurable power. The stone's energy resonated across light years, a beacon that no mortal or superhuman could ignore. As Juggernaut stepped from the ruins of the ancient temple that once housed the relic, the ground shook violently, splintering stone and dust alike. Even the local fauna, creatures hardened by the harsh planetary conditions, scattered in terror. Juggernaut's eyes glinted with a savage delight. Opposition was nothing to him, yet he could sense that this hunt would not be trivial. Back in orbit, Space Ghost detected the ripple. His ghostly form streaked toward the disturbance, traversing the vacuum with an elegance that contrasted sharply with Juggernaut's raw, unstoppable force. The clash of their paths was inevitable. The first visual of Juggernaut as Space Ghost approached was breathtaking. From orbit, the behemoth seemed almost mythic, a living mountain of muscle and enchanted armor, radiating a crimson aura of unstoppable momentum. His armor glinted under the alien sun, etched with mystical runes that shimmered faintly, a testament to the dark magic that had transformed him into a living juggernaut of annihilation. Space Ghost's visor reflected the light in a spectral green, focusing on the energy emanating from Cain. It was raw, chaotic, and yet strangely rhythmic, a pulse of sheer determination that mirrored the heartbeat of a planet under siege. As Space Ghost entered the planet's lower orbit, the atmosphere ignited in streaks of light, bending around his form as he descended. He had faced intergalactic criminals, cosmic horrors and rogue warlords, but Juggernaut was unlike anything he had anticipated. Cain's presence was oppressive. It pressed against Space Ghost's intangible form, testing the limits of his phasing abilities. The spectral hero circled the planet, analyzing, calculating, searching for the perfect approach to neutralize the threat without devastating the fragile ecosystem. Yet, Juggernaut was not patient. He felt the interference in his mission, the ghostly figure observing him. With a roar that shook the sky and cracked the mountains, he launched himself into orbit, a living missile fueled by magic and fury. The force of his ascent was so violent that chunks of the planet were torn from its crust, floating like debris in the low gravity. Space Ghost barely managed to phase through the oncoming impact, deflecting fragments with precise blasts of his cosmic energy. Space Ghost hovered, his cape rippling like liquid shadow, as he projected a shield to contain the debris. Juggernaut charged through it, crushing asteroids as though they were nothing but twigs beneath his feet. Each collision sent shockwaves that rattled Space Ghost's spectral frame, testing his endurance and his mastery over the intangible. For a brief moment, time seemed to slow. Space Ghost's mind raced through centuries of cosmic knowledge, assessing Juggernaut's potential weaknesses. The mystical force that granted Cain his unstoppable momentum was potent, but it was rooted in earthly enchantments. Could cosmic energy disrupt it? Could a well-timed strike of spectral force halt the progress of a being who had shattered walls of impossibility? Juggernaut, oblivious to the calculations of his opponent, laughed, a booming, terrifying sound that resonated across the void. He had faced heroes before, mortals and immortals alike, but there was something unusual about this ghostly sentinel. His movements were calculated, precise, yet there was an energy that seemed uncatchable, slipping past his fists and brute power. Space Ghost and Juggernaut hurtled toward one another, the first titanic blow imminent. Space Ghost hovered above the chaotic battlefield, cape billowing like liquid shadow, energy fists pulsing with cosmic force. Across the jagged landscape, Juggernaut's crimson armor glinted, each step sending tremors through the broken terrain. The air, or what passed for it in this alien world, vibrated with the tension of two unstoppable entities converging. This was no ordinary confrontation. It was a collision of cosmic willpower against raw mystical momentum. Without warning, Juggernaut surged forward, a mountain in motion, each footfall shattering asteroids and sending dust and rock into orbit. Space Ghost phased seamlessly through the debris, sidestepping the initial assault, his fists lancing with concentrated cosmic energy. Each strike collided with Juggernaut's enchanted armor, sparks of mystic resistance flaring outward. Even as his strikes landed, Juggernaut seemed to absorb the blows, his momentum unbroken, his laughter echoing like a war drum across the void. Space Ghost knew he could not rely solely on offense. The Juggernaut's momentum was unstoppable once initiated. He had to control the battlefield, manipulate terrain, and use speed and strategy to exploit the rare openings in Cain Marko's mystical force. Channeling a surge of spectral energy, Space Ghost projected a barrier, an energy dome meant to contain the Juggernaut's charge. For a moment it worked. The unstoppable force collided with the shield, producing a shockwave that sent nearby asteroids flying in every direction. But the Juggernaut's power was relentless. With a roar that split the air, he smashed through the barrier, the mystical energy flickering as he surged forward, momentum unbroken. The battle escalated into a ballet of destruction. Juggernaut's fists shattered rock and asteroid alike, each swing aimed to crush and obliterate, while Space Ghost's intangibility allowed him to phase through, counterstrike and manipulate energy in ways that disoriented even the living mountain. A swing from Cain sent Space Ghost spiraling into the sky, but with a burst of spectral propulsion, he reversed his trajectory, striking Juggernaut from behind with an energy beam that rattled his armor. "You can't stop me," Juggernaut bellowed, the air around him warping with the raw mystical energy that fueled his unstoppable nature. Each word carried the weight of 100 battles, centuries of conquest, and an unshakable confidence that nothing could halt him. Space Ghost, calm but resolute, responded with a precision strike to the runes embedded in Juggernaut's armor, sending a ripple of magical feedback through the crimson plating. Cain faltered for a fraction of a second, a rare fleeting weakness that Space Ghost exploited with a flurry of strikes from multiple angles. Fists collided with fists, energy clashed with enchanted steel, the impact sending shockwaves that shattered the asteroid belt into clouds of debris and glowing fragments. For a tense moment, it seemed the Juggernaut might falter. Space Ghost's strategy, combining speed, intangibility, and energy manipulation, gave him a temporary edge. Cain staggered, the momentum of his unstoppable charge disrupted by the well-placed cosmic strikes. Space Ghost saw his chance. With a powerful surge, he phasing through the Juggernaut's midsection, wrapping him in a containment field designed to neutralize movement. For the first time, Cain Marko's unstoppable force was held in check, but Juggernaut's essence was not bound by ordinary limits. The magical energies within him reacted violently to confinement, surging outward with explosive force. The containment field buckled under the mystical pressure, breaking apart in a blaze of raw power. Cain erupted from the energy trap, a crimson hurricane of destruction. Space Ghost barely managed to evade the full brunt, his cape shredded in the backlash, his energy reserve strained. The final clash was imminent. Space Ghost, using his most potent cosmic projection, aimed a concentrated strike at the mystical core beneath Juggernaut's armor. The energy seared through, disrupting the runes and sending Cain staggering backward. In that instant, Space Ghost launched a direct assault, phasing in and out with blinding speed, striking with precision and intensity. The Juggernaut roared, countering with raw power, but the spectral hero's relentless assault began to push Cain closer to the edge. With one final perfectly timed strike, Space Ghost phased through Juggernaut's armor and delivered a cosmic energy energy blast directly into the heart of the mystical core. Cain Marko staggered, his momentum halted, not entirely defeated, but broken enough to give Space Ghost the upper hand. With the Juggernaut's unstoppable charge neutralized, Space Ghost unleashed a series of calculated energy strikes, forcing Cain to the ground. Rocks and debris flew in every direction as the mountain of a man struggled against the unrelenting force. Finally, with the last surge of spectral energy, Space Ghost pinned Juggernaut in place, his fists brimming with cosmic light. Cain's eyes blazed with fury, yet he could not move, his unstoppable momentum halted by precision, strategy, and the mastery of cosmic power. Space Ghost hovered above him, exhausted but victorious, the battlefield silent except for the crackling of residual energy and the distant echoes of destruction. In the end,